Hello, welcome to 3-Act Structure Explained, where we prove that every movie is secretly the same movie. This time, we're looking at 12 Angry Men. Ready? Go! We begin Act 1 at the end of a court case, where a young boy is accused of his father's murder, and the evidence against him is pretty strong. 12 jurors have to decide the verdict of guilty or not guilty. It's also a death penalty case, so they're deciding if this kid lives or dies. This big moral decision, but it's so casual. We meet all the jurors, we get a sense that none of them are taking it that seriously. They're all bored, tired, grumpy, and it's a really hot day, so they all want to make a quick decision and get out.
Yeah, we can all get out of here pretty quick, huh? I don't know about the rest of you, but I happen to have tickets to that ball game tonight.
Everyone feels pretty confident that this kid is guilty. But in the inciting incident, one juror, none of the characters have names, so he's just called Juror 8, votes for not guilty. The law says they have to be unanimous, so they have to talk it out until they all agree. Everybody else is predictably annoyed that he's dragging it out.
I just want to talk.
Well, what's there to talk about? 11 men in here think he's guilty. No one had to think about it twice except you.
Now, this is a movie with a flat character arc. What that means is that even though Juror 8 is the main character, he's not the one who has to learn a lesson. He's not the one who's changing. He's already right. And it's everyone else who has to learn and change. As they all go one by one to explain why they voted guilty, they show that they aren't really thinking about the evidence. They mostly just made a lot of assumptions. He was a troubled kid from a slum, so he must have done it, right? But all the evidence is pretty circumstantial.
I just think he's guilty. I thought it was obvious from the word go. I mean, nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. The burden of proof's on the prosecution.
Across Act 2, Juror 8 pokes and prods at the facts of the case to see if anything doesn't add up. First, the boy bought a switchblade that night, the same kind of switchblade used to stab his father. But that kind of knife turns out to be really common. There were 2 witnesses. A woman saw the stabbing through the window, and the downstairs neighbor heard it. But is that testimony really reliable? But the other jurors aren't taking him seriously. They still don't care. In the first half, only one juror changes his mind.
I want to hear more. Right now, the vote is 10-2. I'm talking here. You have no right to leave this room.
Can't hear you. He never will. Let's sit down. This isn't a game.
But that starts to shift in the midpoint. Juror 8 makes a strong case that a passing train could have prevented the witnesses from making out what happened at the scene. The jurors find more and more holes in the prosecution's story. More and more jurors take him seriously, but a few of them are stubbornly holding out. In particular, juror number 3.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You're a sadist.
Wow, those 12 men sure are angry.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
The evidence that pushes most of them over is the stab wound, and how if the kid is shorter than his father, he would have stabbed up instead of down, like the evidence showed. This triggers the all is lost moment, albeit a different kind than usual. The latest vote sends juror number 10 into a rage. He goes on a bigoted rant about how all slum kids are inherently evil.
Well, nobody's blaming them for it. That's the way they are, by nature. You know what I mean? Violent. Where are you going? Human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us.
This makes the other jurors ostracize him, and it finally all sinks in how personal prejudice has been affecting the way they've been seeing the case. By the end, everyone votes not guilty, except for juror number 3. He yells about how everyone's being stupid, like he's been doing all throughout the movie. Everyone else changed their minds, but he's not going to budge until he realizes that the boy reminds him of his estranged son. He's taking out his anger at his son by staying angry at this boy he doesn't even know, this young man who was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Rotten kids, you work your life out.
Juror number 3 finally realizes his mistake and votes not guilty. In the resolution, The men acquit the boy and leave the court with a new understanding of their responsibility as jurors. So what did the characters learn from this? And what can we learn? Here are the major themes of the story. Truth. It's not always easy to separate fact from fiction. Figuring out what really happens takes time and diligence. And that directly connects to the next one. Prejudice. Even if you think you're being objective when you're looking at all of these facts and figures, everyone has personal biases that cloud their judgment of other people. And justice. The court system depends on average, ordinary people to sit on a jury and make a verdict. And anybody on a jury has a duty to consider all the facts and make an informed decision. Can we trust a jury of our peers when they are so biased in this way?
He said 15 seconds. He was very positive about it.
He was an old man. Half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about anything?
Click the card on the left to see how another movie follows 3-act structure. Click the card on the right for a full explanation of what 3-act structure is and how it works. Subscribe if you like these videos and want to see more. And leave a comment if there's a movie you want to see the channel talk about next.